dear friends and net aspirants, welcome back to yet another video session of High Point. So I know that we are just 2 days before our NET JRF exam. So this is a crucial time that I know all of you must be doing all rigorous attempts to revise your things, or those who are not yet prepared, they will be also looking at some materials that with them they could actually brush up their memories about literature. And also, anyway, I am here with some important and previous questions related to cultural studies. See, cultural studies as a specific topic that is there in the syllabus of NTA UGC NET. Earlier we used to study this thing as part of literary theory and criticism, but here now we have it as a separate term, separate topic in the syllabus itself. So this is the part one of important and previous questions of cultural studies. Without wasting time, let's move on to the first question. So you can visit my website as always, www.highpoint.in. have a free trial and demo materials and see what I have provided there, how it is arranged. And if you are doing a self study, then even that visit will help you, because there you can find under which topics what you have to learn, what all topics that you have to learn, because the syllabus is just NTA syllabus is very indicative syllabus. From that syllabus you won't get an overall idea what you have to learn, but if you just segregate these topics and you do a systematic study, then you can have a great understanding of literature, and also you can have your UGC NET JRF goals. So the first question here, what we have here, what is not correct about cultural studies? So some statements are given, so you have to know which statement is not correct or which statement is incorrect. So please do remember, you read the question very accurately. That is the first step towards understanding the correct and selecting the correct correct answer for a question. Because if you have not seen this not, which is not the correct meaning, that means the incorrect statement about culture studies that you have to choose. If you have not ample attention to the question that is asked, then you can obviously go for a wrong answer. Okay, so read the question very carefully and also understand the meaning of the question. Then you read the options very carefully. Do not be in a hurry. In literature, there is no need that you be in a hurry. We will get ample time to finish our exam. We don't have to do any mathematical calculations and all. All you need to do, you just read the question very carefully, understand it, analyze it, and if you don't know the correct answer, then you arrive at a clever option. Clever, you made a clever guess. Okay, so that in that way you have to answer the question, not only for NTA UGC NET exam, but also every other exam. In every other exam you have to read the question very correctly. That is the first step. So which is not the correct statement for about cultural studies from the given? Option C, cultural studies depend upon canonical writers' perception. So this is absolutely wrong about cultural studies. If you know anything about cultural studies, it is about celebrating diverse elements in different type of cultures, right? We are actually studying vernacular or super microscopic elements in a vernacular cultural phenomena and all. So it's like we are actually studying minute things and minute practices and things existing in a culture. That culture may not be a glorified well-known culture, but we can do a cultural study in our own land, in our own language, whether it is a vernacular language or super microscopic community that you are living in. So option C is exactly the wrong answer, wrong statement about cultural studies. But you can read all other statements which are correct about cultural studies. Which are they? Cultural studies an interdisciplinary field, of course they are, and cultural studies reads the different ways in which texts are read. So that is again correct. Cultural studies examines various socio-political and economic factors of the authors as well as the character of a given text. Okay, this is again correct. Option C is the only incorrect statement here. Next question, which following is true about cultural studies? Now we have to identify which statements are true. Cultural studies believe literary texts are symptomatic of. The author's response or reaction to their social dynamics, the imaginative faculties of their authors, a close reading for the works of canonical writers. The close reading is there. Close reading is associated to with which work? Which work? I mean, which school? New criticism, right? A nostalgia for the bygone era or a vision for a utopian writers. So these option 1 and option 4 are correct about cultural studies. Like cultural studies believes literary texts are symptomatic of author's response or reaction to their social dynamics. So often in a literary text we can find an author's response, how the author perceives and responds or react to their social dynamics, and also a nostalgia for a bygone era or a vision for a utopian writers. So option C, or that means statement 1 and 4 are correct about cultural studies. Next, the antecedents of cultural studies are usually seen in the works of. So antecedents means so in which works, in which author's works we could see antecedents of cultural studies? It is Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold has written Culture of Anarchy, in which he defines culture in such a way that culture is something that belongs to, that is the the whole good things that we could find, the elevated, the good things, only the good things that is regarded as cultural, so in a society. So I don't remember the exact quotation, but here, so he gives such an explanation for culture. All others are cultureless, but Raymond Williams and all, he actually breaks this definition of culture given by Arnold, and he says that culture is ordinary. It belongs to every other strata of the people in a society. Working class people, they have a culture. Upper class people, they also have kind of culture, and everybody, it's like how we are living in our life. It's like the way of our life. Culture is all about the way of life, our rituals and practices that we are doing in our daily life. So actually he dismantles and he just breaks, Raymond Williams breaks the idea of Matthew Arnold. So we can find antecedents of cultural studies in Matthew Arnold's works. Next one, which of the following pair is incorrectly matched? You have to identify the incorrectly matched pair, not the correctly matched, incorrectly matched pair. Matthew Arnold, Culture and Civilization. Richard Hoggart, Uses of Literacy. Raymond Williams, Culture and Society. Stuart Hall, Truth and Power. So you have to identify, you have to understand, you have to learn that all these people, Richard Hoggart, Raymond Williams, Stuart Hall, they belong to, or they are associated with cultural studies. Matthew Arnold is in the Victorian era, and he has talked about many things related to culture. In that way he is also relevant, because some of his statements and ideas are taken by these critics, cultural critics, and they have broken them. Okay, so here Stuart Hall, Truth and Power, this is a mismatch, this is incorrectly matched. This option D, Stuart Hall, Truth and Power, but all other matches are correct. Matthew Arnold has written Culture and Civilization. Richard Hoggart has written Uses of Literacy. See, Richard Hoggart was the first chairman of BCCS, British Centre for Contemporary Cultural Studies. Richard Hoggart was the first chairman or first head of it. So, and Raymond Williams also has written Culture and Society, but Stuart Hall has not written Truth and Power. So that's a mismatch. The next one, the institutionalization of cultural studies happened in. So in which year and where happened the institutionalization, or an institution was formed and it became a formally as a study, branch of study in literature or in social science? In which year? So in Britain, in the year 1964 it happened. Institutionalization of cultural studies happened. The next question, who among the following was the first director of BCCS, British Centre for Contemporary Cultural Studies? Who is the first director? Like I said already, Richard Hoggart. It was Richard Hoggart was the first director of the BCCS. Next one, the scope of the cultural studies program widened at the University of Birmingham with the publication of the following journal. So there was Birmingham University, the cultural department, the cultural studies program. Actually, that program got a wide reach. It became so famous in the University of Birmingham with the publication of a certain journal. Which was that journal? It was Working Purpose in Cultural Studies. So that was the journal, Working Purpose in Cultural Studies. Because of the publication of this particular journal in the University of Birmingham, what happened? A wide reach for cultural studies happened. The scope of cultural studies expanded because of the publication of this journal, Working Purpose in Cultural Studies in the University of Birmingham. The next question, which among the following is not a critical theory in the development of cultural studies? You have to identify which of these critical theories is not contributed, or which of these from the following options you have to identify the one theory which has not contributed anything to the development of cultural study. Frankfurt theory, of course, they have contributed. Leibniz criticism also. Mass communication theory itself is there. It's one of the major, section in cultural studies. But psychoanalytical theory does not really contribute anything to the development of cultural studies. The next one, who popularized F.R. Leavy's idea of the great tradition by terming it as the cultural capital? So who popularized F.R. Leavis? He has written an essay, a great work known as the Great Tradition. So who popularized this particular idea of the Great Tradition by F.R. Leavis by terming this particular work, this idea as cultural capital? It was Pierre Bourdieu. See, all these people, they are associated with what? Their cultural study critiques and their ideas are taken to cultural studies. Okay, so Pierre Bourdieu, he popularized F.R. Leavis' idea of the great tradition by terming it as cultural capital. The next question, in what ways was the Frankfurt School theory different from the Leibniz criticism? So you have to identify what is the essential difference between, in what ways Frankfurt School theory is different from Leibniz criticism or theory. Okay, option B is the correct answer. The Frankfurt School focused on the examination of the popular culture, but Leibniz criticism was not doing that. So Frankfurt School actually mainly focused on the examination of the popular culture, but Leibniz criticism was not only about popular culture. Okay. Next one, under which theory fall the concepts of visual studies, cyberculture, new technologies of embodiment and globalization? So under which theory, under which concept, under which theory these things are coming? Okay, social visual studies, cyberculture, new technologies of embodiment and globalization. So all these terms and all these topics are found in under which theory? So under mass communication. Under mass communication theory, we can find concepts of visual studies, cyber cultures, new technologies of embodiment and globalization. The next one, which of these is not a work by Richard Hoggart? You have to find out the work which is not written by Richard Hoggart. Liberty and Legislation, A Measured Life, Contemporary Cultural Studies, The Long Revolution. And also Richard Hoggart has written Uses of Literacy. So the Long Revolution is not written by Richard Hoggart, but all other three. So please pause the video and learn that Richard Hoggart has written Liberty and Legislation, A Measured Life, and also Contemporary Cultural Studies, and also Uses of Literacy. But the Long Revolution is not written by Richard Hoggart. Next question, who among the following was a key witness in the British trial of D.H. Lawrence's novel Lady Chatterley's Lover? So we know that Lady Chatterley's Lovers is written by D.H. Lawrence, and D.H. Lawrence is a modern writer, and this work was banned for its sensual or more sexual contents it had. So a trial was going on. So who was the key witness in that British trial of D.H. Lawrence's novel Lady Chatterley's Lover? So Richard Hoggart was present there as a key witness in the British trial of D.H. Lawrence's novel Lady Chatterley's Lover. Next one, which of the following is not true for Richard Hoggart? So Richard Hoggart is an eminent figure in cultural studies, and he's the first director of BCCCS. And also you have to identify which statement is not true about Richard Hoggart. See, He served as a warden at University of London. That is correct. He served as a warden at University of London, and he began a journal titled Politics and Letters. This is not correct. But all the other three are correct. So you have to learn the true statements about Richard Hoggart. That will help you to answer some other questions. Okay, he served as the assistant director of UNESCO from 1971 to 75, and he was part of the Royal Artillery during the Second World War. So maybe all these things you may not imagine about Richard Hoggart, but he served as a warden at University of London, and he was an assistant director of UNESCO from 1971 to 75, and he was also part of Royal Artillery during the Second World War. But he didn't begin a journal titled Politics and Letters. Okay. So the next question, what we have here, 15th question. Besides Raymond Williams, who was the co-author of the pamphlets he wrote for the Communist Party? So who co-authored along with Raymond Williams for the pamphlets that he wrote for the Communist Party? It was Eric Hobsbawm. Eric Hobsbawm co-authored with Raymond Williams in the pamphlets he wrote for Communist Party. Next one, which of the following were Raymond Williams co-editors of Politics and Letters, started in 1948? So Raymond Williams was also contributing or also editing a particular journal known as Politics and Letters, who was the co-editor in this journal Politics and Letters along with Raymond Williams, which was started in 1948. So it was Clifford Collins and Wolf Mankowitz. Okay, so along with Raymond Williams, Clifford Collins and Wolf Mankowitz, these two are co-editors of Raymond Williams in the journal Politics and Letters, which actually started in 1948. Next one, which among the following is not true for Stuart Hall? You have to find out the untrue or not true or false statement about Stuart Hall from the given statements. He was the first director of the Center of British Cultural Studies. So that is exactly the wrong statement, because the first director for the center was Hoggart, Richard Hoggart. Okay. He was a Jamaican-born British Marxist. Yes, of course he was. And he founded the New Left Reviews, a bi-monthly journal, of course. And he played a crucial role in Black Arts movement. That the option B, C, D, these three are correct about Stuart Hall, but he was not the first director for the Center for British Cultural Studies. It was Richard Hoggart, that we have already seen. Then Stuart Hall was not associated with the following journal. So you have to identify a journal from the given options which is not associated to Stuart Hall. Okay. Left Review, New Left Review, that is the first option. Second one, Soundings, a journal of politics and culture. C, option C, Marxism Today. Option D, Tel Quel. So Stuart Hall is not associated with Tel Quel, but he is associated with all these three journals: New Left Review, Soundings, a journal of politics and culture, Marxism Today. So Stuart Hall, as a cultural critic and politically vibrant person, as a leftist person, he was associated with the following journals, but he was not associated with Tel Quel. Next one, the title of Stuart Hall's memoir was, so Stuart Hall has written a memoir, and what was the title of it? Familiar Strangers. Familiar Strangers is the title of Stuart Hall's memoir. Please remember that. Please pause the video and read these answers and the question 2 or 3 times. It won't take that much long time for you to read all these things. Pause the video and read it and understand and memorize it, okay? What does hegemony mean? So hegemony is a term associated to Antonio Gramsci, first of all. And what does hegemony? Hegemony is ruled by consent, right? Without indirectly, a particular dominant group of a society exercises and maintains their power over another group in that society indirectly. But the group in that which ruled by the dominant group, they unconsciously believe that they have a free of choice, they are very free, but actually the dominant people, they are exercising their power and maintains their power and influence over them. That kind of a phenomena going on in the society, that is known as hegemony. So from the given statements we can see that option A, dominance of one political state over other. So that is exactly what is hegemony. Next, who said one is not born but rather becomes a woman? So who said it? One is not born but rather becomes a woman? Simon de Beauvoir. Simon de Beauvoir said that one is not born but rather becomes a woman. It's a cultural thing. The definition of woman is a cultural thing and it is universal because of universal patriarchy is there everywhere, anywhere. So woman is viewed in such a way, not because that a person is born as a woman, but after that she becomes a woman. Okay. Next question, who coined the term ideology? So who coined the term ideology? From the given options we can identify Anthony Destutt de Tracy. He coined the term ideology. Maybe he is not that familiar, but still Anthony Destutt de Tracy coined the term ideology. But later ideology was taken by many other critics and many other philosophers and all, and it was explained and used in many other situations. Next one, who coined the term feminism? Okay, who came up with the term feminism for the first time? It was Charles Fourier. Charles Fourier coined the term feminism, not Helen Sixtus, not Charles Baudelaire, not Pierre Bourdieu, but Charles Fourier coined the term feminism. Next one, who among the following is considered to be the founding figures in the United States academia? Okay, who among the following is considered to be the founding figure in the United States Academy? It was Alain Showalter. Alain Showalter is considered to be the founding figure in the United States Academia. Okay, next question. Alain Showalter's prime area of research was the performativity of gender, hysteria and madness in women, ecofeminism, interaction between race and feminism. So Alain Showalter's prime area of research was hysteria and madness in women. Please learn that hysteria and madness in women is the prime or was the prime area of research for Alain Showalter. Next, arrange the following works by Alain Showalter sequentially. Please pause the video and you have to pause the video and you learn this in a chronological manner. First of all, you get the idea what are some of the important works by Alain Showalter, and the next thing you will get the chronological order of her works. Okay. The second one, speaking of gender, is the first one, and sexual anarchy is the second one, and third one, inventing herself, and fourth one, teaching literature. So speaking of gender published first, then comes sexual anarchy, then comes inventing herself, then come teaching literature. Please pause the video and learn. Okay, I'm not going to repeat it more times because that will unnecessarily make this video lengthy. You can obviously pause the video and learn. Who among the following is not exercise and influence on Simone de Beauvoir? So Simone de Beauvoir, she is a great feminist critic, and she is not influenced by whom from the given options. So Simone de Beauvoir, she was not influenced by Hoggart, Richard Hoggart, but she got influenced by Sartre, Hegel, and Leibniz. Okay, Sartre, Hegel, and Leibniz. All these people, they had an influence of Simone de Beauvoir, but she had very least influence of Richard Hoggart. Okay. Next one. In the following work by de Beauvoir, her lover Algren appears as a fictional character. So all these works are written by Simone de Beauvoir. Okay, and in one of those works, her lover Algren appears as a fictional characters. Which is that work? So the Mandarina is a work in which Beauvoir's lover Algren itself appears as a fictional character. But the second sex, the Mandarina, all men are mortal, the coming age, all these works are Simone de Beauvoir. But if you have not read the second sex, then you must go and read. The PDFs are available online. The next question, which of the following works is not by Simone de Beauvoir? You have to identify which work is not written by Simon de Beauvoir. So Sister's Choice is not written by Simon de Beauvoir, but all other three works are by Simon de Beauvoir. The Blood of Others, All Said and Done, America Day by Day. See, these works are by Simon de Beauvoir, but Sister's Choice is not written by Simon de Beauvoir. The next question, what is not true about Mary Wollstonecraft? Mary Wollstonecraft belonged to the Romantic Age, and she is the wife of the great essayist and writer and political activist of the time, William Godwin, and she is the mother of Mary Shelley, the great Gothic writer of Frankenstein. She has written Frankenstein. So, and she is also considered as the one of the first major feminist, feminist theoretician and all. She came up with. She talked about female equality. Why should females also should be given education and all. So, which statement is not true about Mary Wollstonecraft? The statement, she was a 20th century advocate of women's rights. Writing. So she was 19th century or 18th century, we can say, a Romantic Age writer, not a 20th century advocate of women's rights. But these three, B, C, D, option B, C, D are correct about Mary Wollstonecraft. What are they? She was posthumously regarded as a feminist. So she died very soon, in an early age itself, when she was giving birth to her daughter, Mary Shelley. After that, she could not leave because of physical reasons, but she was posthumously, only after her death she was regarded as a feminist, and this is her work, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, in her most notable contribution. That is also correct. Her daughter was a great writer, Mary Shelley. See, option B, C, D, these are correct about Mary Wollstonecraft, but option A, she was a 20th century advocate of women's rights, that is a wrong statement about Mary Wollstonecraft. So pause the video and learn these statements, at least read the statements, okay? The next question, which of the following works is not by Judith Butler? So which of the following statement work is not done by Judith Butler? She Came to Stay. She Came to Stay is not a work by Judith Butler, but giving an account of herself, Subjects of Desire, Who Sings the Nation State. These works are by Judith Butler. Giving an account of oneself, Subjects of Desire, Who Sings the Nation State. All these three works are by Judith Butler, but She Came to Stay, this work is not by Judith Butler. The next one, which of these is incorrectly matched? You have to find the incorrectly matched pair, not the correctly matched pair. So do read the questions very carefully, okay? Julia Kristeva, Bulgarian French philosopher. Judith Butler, American philosopher. Simon de Beauvoir, French philosopher. Louise Irigaray, American philosopher. Okay. Julia Kristeva, of course, she is a Bulgarian French philosopher. Judith Butler, of course, she is an American philosopher. Simon de Beauvoir, she is a French philosopher. But Louise Irigaray, she is not an American philosopher. See, all these people, they are feminist and they are feminist philosophers. Julia Kristeva, Judith Butler, Simon de Beauvoir, Louise Irigaray and all. They have contributed immensely to feminism and feminist literary school. So, but Louise Irigaray is not an American philosopher. Her nationality is not American. The next one, who among the following is not exercise an influence on Julia Kristeva? So, who does not exercise an influence upon Julia Kristeva? William Godwin. So William Godwin, of course, he is not a 20th century writer. He belongs to the Romantic Age. So he does not exercise any. That doesn't mean that he cannot exercise an influence, but still, William Godwin does not exercise an influence on Julia Kristeva. But Michel Bakhtin, Lucien Godman, Roland Barthes, these people actually exercised a great influence on Julia Kristeva, and she also came up with many structuralist and post-structuralist theories and concepts as well. The next question, arrange the following works by Julia Kristeva, in their correct sequence. That means you have to arrange the works of Kristeva in a chronological manner according to their publication. So, Semiotique comes first, then comes Revolution in Poetic Language, then comes Power of Horror, then comes The Samurai. Okay, so option A is correct. Read it, pause the video and read it many times. Okay, Semiotique comes first, then comes revolution in poetic language, then comes power of horror, then comes the samurai. Next question. What is the central theme of Lucy Gray's works? So Lucy Gray mainly talked about something. So what is the central theme of Lucy Gray's work? So it was studying the way men and women speak differently. So Lucy Gray mainly studied about the way men and women speak differently in the same situation. Okay, so that is the central theme of Lucy Gray's work. Next video, what is not true about Lucy Gray? So you have to find, the false statement about Lucy Gray. Okay, she has 2 PhDs. So that is the correct statement. Lucy Gray had 2 PhDs, and she was much celebrated in the Freudian Lacan circle. No, she is not celebrated in Freudian and Lacanian circles. Her second PhD led to her suspension from École de Paris. So actually, she was doing her second PhD there, but because of the thesis, because while she was doing second PhD, she got suspended from there, and she had a master's degree from the University of Paris. So option A, C, D, these options are correct about Lucy Gray, but option B, she was much celebrated in Freudian and Lacanian circles. This is a false statement about Lucy Gray. The next one, which among the following is not correctly matched? You have to find the incorrect match here. See here, the texts are given and their publication years. Pause the video and read the question and the options multiple times. Okay, this sex which is not one, it is not published in 1966. So that is the correct answer. That is the incorrectly matched pair. But all others are matched correctly. Ethics of Sexual Difference, published in the year 1982. To Be Two, that is published in the year 1994. Forgetting of Air, published in 1999. So pause the video and read the options many times. The next question. Helen Sextius researched extensively on the works of. So Helen Sextius, she is a radical feminist, and Helen Sextius, she researched extensively on the works of James Joyce. James Joyce is a modern writer, modern novelist, and upon his works, Helen Sextius researched extensively. The next question. Who endowed Helen Sextius with the following title? Who has given Helen Sextius the following title? The greatest living writer in the French language. So some other critic called Helen Sextius as the greatest living writer in the French language. Who called Helen Sextius as it? Jacques Derrida. So Jacques Derrida, again, he is a deconstructionist, and Jacques Derrida, he called Helen Sextius as the greatest living writer in the French language. The next question, which among the following text is considered to be a precursor of post-colonial studies? So which work is considered to be the precursor or forerunner of post-colonial studies, who actually introduced or studied post-colonialism initially? Okay, it was Edward Said's Orientalism. So we have already seen in one of the videos a same kind of question. So who is the forerunner? Which work by whom is the forerunner of post-colonial studies? It is Edward Said's Orientalism. The next question, what is the title of Edward Said's autobiography? So Edward Said has written an autobiography. So what is the title of that autobiography? It is Out of the Place. Edward Said's autobiography is titled as Out of the Place. The next question, arrange the following works by Edward Said in chronological order. Pause the video and learn. Okay, Orientalism comes first. Then we have the Question of Palestine. Then comes Covering Islam, then comes Culture and Imperialism. See, Culture and Imperialism and Orientalism, these two are eminent works in post-colonialism, but the chronology of his works is Orientalism, the Question of Palestine, then comes Covering Islam, then comes Culture and Imperialism. Do read it again and again for several times. The next one, in the Department of Comparative Literature, Gayatri Spivak worked under the guidance of. So Gayatri Spivak was working under the Department of Comparative Literature, and she was worked she was working under the guidance of Paul D. Mann. Next question. Around 1962, Gayatri Spivak wrote a thesis on. So Gayatri Spivak, she is a great post-colonial theoretician and philosopher, and she, around this year, 1962, she wrote a thesis on what? So she was working under the guidance of, or she was working in the comparative literature department under Paul D. Mann, but she was not working a thesis, wrote a thesis upon him, but she wrote a thesis upon W.B. Yeats around 1962. The next question, who among the following was the only Indian to receive the Kyoto Prize in 2012 in the field of art and philosophy? So this person, this particular theoretician or post-colonial philosopher is the only one who received Kyoto Prize in 2012 in the field of art and philosophy. So it was Gayatri Spivak Chakrabarti. Next one, Spivak runs a memorial foundation focusing on the education of illiterate in Bengal, Bihar and Jharkhand with the help of financial aid left to her by her friend. So actually one of her friend left a huge financial aid to Spivak for some social service. So using that fund, Spivak runs a memorial foundation which focuses on the education of the illiterate women or illiterate in Bengal, Bihar and Jharkhand. So who left that amount of financial aid to her to start this memorial foundation? So it was Lore Metzger. Lore Metzger, her friend, left a financial aid for her to start the memorial foundation which focused on the education of illiterate in Bengal, Bihar and Jharkhand. Next one. Which of the following works are not by Spivak? So you have to identify which of the works is not written by Spivak from the given options. Okay, Death of a Discipline, Truth and Power, Other Asians, Harlem. Okay, Truth and Power is not written by Spivak, but Death of a Discipline, Other Asians, Harlem, these are work by Gayatri Spivak. Pause the video and learn. Who among the following is not credited with the coining of terms like hybridity and mimicry? Say which work, which author from the given or which philosopher from the given option who actually coined the term hybridity and mimicry. See, hybridity and mimicry, these are terms and key terms related to post-colonialism. Okay, who coined these terms? It was actually Homi K. Bhabha. See, Gayatri Spivak, Homi K. Bhabha, Oleg Bohemmer, Frantz Fanon. So these philosophers, they belong to or they are key figures in post-colonialism. But hybridity and mimicry, these terms are coined by Homi K. Bhabha in the field of post-colonialism. Next question, which among the following is not a work by Homi K. Bhabha or Homi Bhabha? Mary Kelly, Maria Rakib Shaw, Mitra Robertson. Okay, so which is not a work by Homi K. Bhabha? Actually, Maria is not a work by Homi K. Bhabha, but all other titles, Mary Kelly, Rakib Shaw, Mitra Robertson. So all these works are by Homi K. Bhabha only. The next question, with whom did Karl Marx mostly worked in collaboration? So with whom? We know that Marx and Engels, obviously and always it is like that, right? Marx and Engels, they worked in collaboration often to bring about many works, right? So all these philosophers, they are Marxist philosophers, okay? Antonio Gramsci, Louis Althusser, Frederick Engels, Jacques Derrida. Jacques Derrida is a deconstructionist too. So Marx, obviously, most commonly and most frequently, Marx collaborated with Frederick Engels while he was composing works and concepts. So that's all about the first part of major and important and previous questions related to cultural studies. I hope this was useful for you to brush up many things and also introduce many concepts that may be new to you. But there are relevant questions of which you have to pause and learn about the list of works and years and all and statements related to authors and philosophers. So you can do that. So and also view the video multiple times too if you have time. So yeah, you can visit me and you can have me in these platforms. You can visit my website www.highpoint.in for more study materials, relevant study materials for UGC NET, JRF, English language and literature. And also you can have a live call or message me or WhatsApp me in this given number for having any any sort of help regarding UGC NET JRF. And also you can go to the description box and I have given a link to join my WhatsApp group in which you will find daily quizzes and materials and news and updates related to UGC NET JRF English. Click the link and join the WhatsApp group if you like. And also if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to the channel. And if you like the video, please press the like button. And if you have any questions and queries, comment that in the comment section and let me know. And you can also personally message me in the given number as well. So that's all about it. Let me meet you in the next video. Until then, bye bye and thank you.